Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. A family member, wrote to talk about this Cathy person who keeps putting garbage next to her neighbor's house. And it gave a real big overview of this particular person that works for the sanitation, sweeping the road. And sometimes, well, not only sometimes, I usually say, you never know someone. You never know what someone is going through. You cannot know the mind of a person. You cannot know the heart of a person. And after I read what I read here, it's only left to your imagination to try to figure out what happened to Cathy. Who made her the way she is? Okay, now they're saying that over 30 years ago, she hid a pregnancy for the whole 9 months. She hid it, and she had planned to do whatever she wanted to do. And it got to a point where probably the child wasn't coming out the way it should, and she had to go to the hospital. And after she gave birth at the hospital, she asked if she could go and make a phone call so she can have her family bring clothes. And when she was making up that lie, she disappeared. She left the baby at the hospital and she disappeared, and it took weeks, months to find her because she had given a fake name and fake address. So it took them a long time to even find her. She was given counseling, and they actually gave her the baby. She was given counseling, and the baby was placed in a home. The baby was placed in a home. After years, she got the baby back. It wasn't a baby. He was a little boy at that point. And they're saying that the child care board didn't check on her and the baby, and the same female, put the little baby boy in an abandoned house and would send food in a butter container and Coke and tea in Coke bottles for him once a day. And someone called the authorities about this malnourished toddler, weighing like a newborn, just like bony, and they came and they took him. He was admitted to the hospital and he was discharged into a children's home. Okay. They're saying she never had anything to do with that boy. Nobody knows why she felt the way she felt about the child, but she never really wanted anything to do with him. I don't know where he is now, that particular child. I don't know what happened to her to have made her pregnant, if it was, a violation either by family or someone. You don't know, but she definitely didn't want that first child. So I asked the question, that's why I say more here. I asked the question, I said, well, does she have other kids? And the person said, yes, she has 4 other children. And when they reach 16, that is not the age of maturity, it's the age of consent, but not the age of maturity. But she puts them out at 16, and they're saying that one of her kids now live in a shed in her backyard, and no one knows if she was I asked that question, and no one knows who the father is. I asked that question too. Yeah, I'll ask the questions. And the child was raised in the home, the same one, until he was of age, and then an aunt took him in, so at least he knew his family. And the family member is saying that she was always like that. She once bit off a little boy's ear in a fight with his mother. She was always like that. Some years ago, they're saying that I highlighted her on one of my posts, and where a woman was begging for help because the same Cathy would not stop interfering with her when she got on the public bus, transport board bus. So she's always been a problem, but she works for sanitation. So how much of a problem could she be if she knows how to go to work, clock in, clock out, she gets a check. I'm sure that if, something goes wrong with that check, she'll know that there's a penny missing, so what is it? Yeah, there's trauma being born in Barbados. It's automatic. It's automatic. This trauma is a trauma-based environment. The real estate and the place is trauma-based. It's part of the spirit energy. It's part of the blueprint. Anyone born and raised and you're eating from the ground and you're drinking the water from the taps, anyone that is born in Barbados are born in a trauma-based environment. You're gonna experience trauma, whether you can admit it, whether you feel it, whether you know it, whether it's, maybe you're raised well enough that it can subside. It's there, but it's not there. But it's a trauma-based environment, land that you are born in when you are born in Barbados, and depending on your parents or a parent, because usually they're not parents, there's a parent, depending on how mean, depending on how heavy-handed, because I don't see love really, but depending on that, it depends on a lot of things. But depending on that first set of eyes that you lay your eyes on, your mom or your dad, or your mom and dad, but usually the mom, depending on her, that can steer you in whatever situation or whatever direction you end up in. And the 4 kids that she has, what are they doing? And the first child that she had, the one that she put in an abandoned house and sent him food in a container and tea in a Coke bottle. Where is he? I would love to talk to Cathy. I know it's an impossibility. Yes, I know it is an impossibility. But I would love to talk to her. I would love to talk to her children. I would love to talk to... I don't want to talk to her sisters. I would like to talk to her or her children and get an insight and talk to... Let them talk to Barbadians about the experience. Let it all come out, that experience, and whatever else is going on inside the body system that they occupy. But like I said, if you're born in Barbados, if anyone who is born and raised in Barbados, like I said, eating the food from the ground, drinking the water, if you're born and you're raised in Barbados, you're born into trauma. Heavy duty trauma. Okay, you cannot avoid it. It's there. You should seek help. Like they usually say, there are more of them out than in. That's what they say. Much more people who are ill outside, acting. They get along very well. They're born and they're molded by it. So it's just part of who you are. So you cope very well within that system. But a lot of illness can be seen in the way Barbadians treat each other, the way they predate on each other, the way you can be ill and they just stand there and watch you. They just stand like the birds of prey that just the scavenger bird that just waits until you take that last breath so they can scoop down on you. That's how Barbadians. That's how in a lot of instances. That's how I see it. It's just a strange place that people who can seem so normal are so abnormal, so cold, like a coldness. It's fear-based. It's a frightening place to be if you have any senses. If you're not that numb, if you're still like have blood running through your veins and you have some sort of senses still operating, if you're in Barbados, if you overstay, I've always talked about overstaying your welcome. If you overstay your welcome in Barbados, there's a fear that sets into you in your pit, and you're wondering where it's coming from, because the people that you are nicest to, the people that even may have like private information and you allow them in, those are the people that betray you. Those are the people that betray you. It's a strange place. And yeah, I would love to talk to Cathy or her children. I would love to talk to her, because a lot of this is there. A lot of Cathys are there. Okay, a lot of you are there, and all of you are experiencing trauma. You deal with it nicely. A lot of you medicate. But most of you are functioning well with it. You just, because you're born in it. But it's a trauma place. That's Barbados is a trauma place that you're born in. Okay, that's it for this. Sherry Veronica.